Anecdotes of Reddit presents, employees of Disney, what is the craziest thing you've seen happen in the park? I worked at Club Disney for the brief time it was open. We had codes we used on the radio headsets that were coordinated with character names. For instance, code blue meant there was blood that needed to be cleaned up immediately. One day, I'm taking a stroll around the club to check on things when I spot a small boy about 2 years old taking a massive dump right in the middle of the play area. He sees me, starts to cry, and runs away with no clothing on the lower half of his body. I get on the radio and can't think of what to say as we hadn't discussed a code for human faces in the play area and naked kid running around. So I just called, I have a code poo situation in the play area and piglets on the loose. I used to be a cast member at the Disney store in my local mall. We were required to greet everyone within 10 seconds of them entering the store. There used to be a game online that kids would play about getting to the back of the store, grabbing a stuffed animal from the plush mountain, and get back up front before getting greeted. I saw this one teenager run across the store and dive headfirst in the mountain of stuffed animals, only to quickly find out that they were on risers. He was taken away on a stretcher, but ended up being fine. And yes, I greeted him while he was in midair, so he lost the game. Former WDW cast member. I swear most of my crazy stories come from working there. Things I've seen. More than once, adult drop trouser and take a dump next to a line of people and walk off laughing. A mother climb a tree and swing down in the middle of another family's meet and greet with beast. She didn't want to wait in line. 3 people in wheelchairs in the same tree at another time. I have no idea. A man tried to swim in Cinderella's moat during fireworks. I was guarding the ropes. I tackled him 5-point Snow White being thrown over the shoulder of a drunk man in Epcot in an attempt to carry her away. A Brazilian tour group beat the crap out of Donald Duck. Nights of Joy is hell on earth. The park is open to Christian youth groups and has Christian rock bands perform. During these nights extra staff is put on and extra security because there is sex and drugs and theft happening around every corner. My managers were preparing us for it. They said if you see a bush rustle kids are having sex behind it, the bathrooms have to be checked every 5 minutes, and any ride that goes dark for more than 3 seconds will have randy teenagers whipping their junk out. Those nights, those terrifying nights. My brother-in-law worked there in the student program. 2 things he told me were the worst. This couple were trying to ride Space Mountain and had a black duffel bag. He heard something come from the bag, so he asked them to open it. They refused. Security comes, forces them to open it. It was their 6-month-old baby. I don't remember what attraction it was for, but he said a little boy from Make-A-Wish got to go to the front of every line. This one lady saw it and bitched so loud about how this little trash kid didn't deserve to cut in lines and a bunch of other bullshit. He described the look on the boy's parents' faces as nothing but nightmarish heartbreaking shit. He told the lady to get out of line and stop being such a bitch, explained that the kid was with Make-A-Wish. She apparently didn't care and asked for a manager. Bitches to manager. She is banned from WDW. My brother-in-law almost lost his job right there due to all of the commotion that was caused. Luckily he didn't. When I was a kid at Disneyland I was in line for the train roller coaster ride. A man on the ride got his head ripped off when the coaster malfunctioned and he hit his head on a beam. The park employees just said the ride was broken and to come back later. They were escorting away the people who were on the ride with the guy who died. A couple days later we continued on our vacation to Las Vegas and our first night there Siegfried and Roy got attacked by tigers. It was a good vacation. As my name implies, I work at WDW as a cast member. There are a lot of crazy things I'd rather not get into, but the worst was one night during the fireworks exit. We had a bunch of 20-year-olds being dumbasses on the resort platform. They start punching each other in the arms, being the usual pricks to each other. One of them ended up missing his friend and cold clocking a 12-year-old girl. 12-year-old girl's dad had to be 6 feet 4 inches and 320 pounds. And built. I mean really built. It took 4 security guards and 2 Orange County deputies to pull the guy off the bloody pulp that remained of the kid. His friend ended up jumping into the bushes to get away from one seriously angry father. Edit. Removed centimeters acronym for cast member. I worked in monorails too. About a year or so ago a guest got off at Epcot station and then told the centimeters at unload he was going to be sick. The centimeters opened up the trash can so he could puke in it easier. The guest then proceeded to take off his cloths and took a massive dump in the trash can. People man. I'm not a Disney employee and the story isn't that crazy, so I really have no business commenting. But those guys have eyes like hawks. I had a couple mini air horns in my bag and they told me I couldn't bring them in. I said I was going to take them back to my car. I walked a quarter mile away and tucked them in my socks. As I walked back in, a guy flipped open his Disney badge, no joke, and told me I needed to give him the air horns. I wasn't even mad. That was amazing. Edit, a word. The FBI should start hiring former Disney employees. Ultimate perception. I worked in Tomorrowland attractions at WDW and there were many stories, but one of the craziest was when I noticed a Down syndrome child waiting in the back hallway, not a normal place for guests. I figured he was waiting on his party to finish riding. I was bumped out of my position for a break 5 to 10 minutes later, and he was still there. I got him to walk down to the unload area with me, figuring his family was probably freaking out about where he was. No one was down there waiting for him. I waited for 15 minutes and realized his family was not on the ride. After calling managers and coordinators conducting a search throughout Tomorrowland, we found his family riding Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. They just left him at space. I have never been so upset at work. There are so many others, but this one always comes to mind. Used to work attractions at an unnamed land. On the Indiana Jones adventure there are 3 48-inch height checkpoints which small guests must hit, and there's often drama here. One of the lowest points in my Disney career was having to height check a midget. I couldn't make eye contact. All he said was, "Really?" and I hung my head in shame and nodded. Another time an African American family had made it all the way down to the last checkpoint, which was in the station. The poor kid was too short, but the mom lost her mind when I said her child couldn't ride. She started screaming at the top of her lungs that this racist motherfucker won't let my precious baby girl on the ride. You are racist etc, etc. Cleared out the station, temporarily shut down the ride. She was escorted out and banned from the park. TLDR. Height checked a midget, didn't let a little girl ride because she was black. Not an employee, but there was this man that had scissors on him. Not sure how he got past security with that. He approached a little girl from behind with the scissors drawn and cut the string of her balloon. I thought that was going to be much worse than it was. It's so strange that he obviously thought about doing that before going to the park and planned it out. Probably a little late, but I was working in the kitchen at Cinderella's castle when this family of 4 came in for their dinner. About halfway through the dinner the husband politely stands up and taps his glass for attention. He announced that his wife of 15 years has been cheating on him for over a year. The entire place stood still in shock. He motioned for his kids, paid the waitress, and left the wife crying at the table. Happiest place in the world. Goddamn, that's some planning for a breakup. Only thing that would have made it better is if he served her with the divorce papers as well. I was a Disney employee for the summer. My 2 favorite memories: coming out of a bathroom stall and washing my hands next to a half-dressed Mary Poppins. I was sitting with a group of guys by where Mickey and Minnie get dressed. When they came out, the guys started catcalling Minnie. The guy that was Mickey said, in a perfect Mickey voice, "If you look at my girlfriend again I'm gonna pop ya." I worked a ride in Animal Kingdom a long time ago. Saw a 8 to 10 foot long snake emerge from an area with lots of plants and bushes. It slowly works its way through a line of about 200 people, weaving its way through people's legs, strollers, bags, etc. Then it just casually slips back into another wooded area. No one noticed. Sounds like you need to stop doing acid at work. Not a cast member, but I witnessed a cast member do this. I was in line at Disneyland, California with a group of Japanese teenage tourists were ahead of me in line. I speak Japanese, so I could understand that they were making fun of Americans. They were mostly saying things to the effect of, "On TV they seem so cool, but all of these Americans are so fat and ugly." They were laughing and even occasionally pointing at people. I was just staying quiet, but then one of the cast members who evidently also spoke Japanese walked up to them and told them in perfect Japanese, "You guys should really be careful. Most Americans can speak Japanese." They all froze up and looked around at people, many of whom were giving them dirty looks. I nodded at them like I was backing him up, and they were horrified. They all left the line promptly afterward. A co-worker of mine at Disney World once helped escort Michael Jackson through some employee-only areas to avoid the crowd surrounding him. He got an autograph on a napkin. Nope. I just remembered my actual favorite / craziest story. Someone had left an abandoned bag at the base of Space Mountain for more than 15 minutes, so we followed the normal security procedures, and they brought a bomb dog out to sniff it. When our Pluto came to check the bag, he sniffed it and then sat down, which signals there is something wrong with this bag. So we had to evacuate all of Tomorrowland, literally all of the attraction / stores / restaurants, and all the CMs were standing at all the entrances freaking out, because now of course we were sure a bomb was going to go off, and we would all die. Turned out that the backpack was just forgotten, full of carne asada burritos, and Pluto sat down, because he thought he was getting a treat.